I initially in 20s, I used to think, oh, success to me is just making money, get a job, grow. That was in 20s. And as into 30s, I realized that life is beyond just making money. And then I looked at life now and I look at 5 pillars, which is mental, emotional pillar. Then there's a physical pillar, health. And then you have spiritual pillar, you have financial pillar, which is money, and then the social pillar. So if I have to ask you, how do you rate yourself in these pillars, starting from the first one on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. So let's talk one by one.
Sure.
Mental and emotional, how much you rate yourself today?
Very low.
Very
actually,
low.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends on how I look at that.
Yeah.
I've put a lot of work into that pillar to ensure that I am, ensuring that I continue to progress positively.
Sure.
So I think it's one of those where if I look at who I am naturally, I would say that I lean towards being a more low, depressed, quiet, introverted person who's very happy to sit at home on my own.
That's interesting.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
However, that's not how you succeed in life.
Yes.
And that's not how you build relationships.
Yes.
And that's not how you grow a business. So in order to evolve and change, I've had to put a lot of effort into that pillar. I don't wake up every morning going, oh, thank God it's another day. I wake up every...
Not natural.
No, it's not natural. For me, I wake up every morning going, oh my God. But then I quickly realize that that attitude will not help me succeed in life. So I've had to work on waking up going, it's going to be an outstanding day. I'm going to be outstanding. Everyone around me is going to be outstanding. And that positivity pillar has become really important. And it's something that I work on every single day. So when I said low, I mean, I'm innately low, but I've had to put in a lot of work in order for me to be as high as I am.
Yeah.
So, everything from, recruiting team members. In that recruitment process, everyone knows positivity is incredibly important to me, not just because I'm trying to create a positive space for them, but it's also because it's what I need every day.
Yeah.
I need to be in a positive environment every day. I'm someone who anything negative around me, I dismiss. I don't watch the news. I come from a very media oriented family. My father's an editor-in-chief of a newspaper for a very long time. I don't watch the news. I do not want to go, and I work in media, right?
My God, that's such a paradox.
But I also, I'm very aware of what you feed yourself and what content you feed yourself, what information, the people.
That's what you become.
Yeah, and so as a result, I'm very, they say you should guard the doors to your mind, and I'm very, very cautious about who I let in order to ensure my emotional state, to come back to your original question, can remain high. So it's a daily work in progress.
That's interesting, because a lot of people, when they watch a lot of entrepreneurs, as successful as you, they're impacting so many lives, making a lot of money. They believe that you're naturally, emotionally and mentally strong person. But when you share this, it clearly shows that it's not natural to everybody, right? You have to do the work, right? So that's interesting. I'm going to go deep a little bit into this before we go to the other pillars. Sure. Can you tell me more about when you were not so conscious about building this muscle of mental and emotional, which is the repetition, bringing the positive energy and all that. When you were not doing that, what was your feeling like at that time? And how did you change from there to becoming stronger mentally and emotionally?
I think in terms of what does it feel like, I think it's very easy to be very self-conscious, to be very withdrawn, to feel very low, to feel very alone, even though that may not be the reality, even though
you're just feeling inside.
It's internal,
the meaning
right?
that you're giving. Yeah.
Even though that logically you're surrounded by family and friends and people, but it's still a feeling that you have, which can allow you to be very subdued.
So was there a phase of life that you were feeling more of this, like, 20s or 30s, or any incident or event that you can share with us that, you were feeling low because of whatever?
I think it's come up throughout my life at different times. And I think I've just learned how to address those feelings and tackle them better or stronger, or I've become stronger as well. Definitely when you're younger, there's a lot more self-awareness or lack of self-awareness and feeling unsure of yourself. I think when I was very young, I say even as young as teens, it's very difficult being an Arab Muslim female living in central London in a very, I had very overprotective parents who tried to instill certain rules, and you're living in an environment where everyone around you has a free-for-all, so I think even from that point you start to feel like you're a bit different, or you feel that you're not quite fitting in with the environment around you. And honestly, you try different things. I've tried I've been through therapy a number of times, I've been clinically depressed a number of times, but each time that's happened, you kind of learn how to work your way out.
What are the triggers? Because I just want to connect with the audience, because people can relate to whatever you're saying, because people have gone through a lot of emotional ups and downs. When you were like clinically depressed, were there some external forces and triggers that happened in your life? Like, for example?
If I'm honest, I don't think that I've never had something seriously go wrong. So I don't have a story. It's not like somebody, who may have had real misfortune in their life, that has resulted in that, which is why I find it even more, maybe challenging to connect, because I can understand when someone says they've had a lot of death in their family, or they've had trauma in their family, or they've had big challenges that has resulted in them feeling depressed. I didn't have that. So I'm not trying to blame anyone. I can't honestly say I had a situation. I think it's probably more internal, environmental, and just doubt, and I think a huge element of being alone, which has come up a number of times. So I'll give you a different example later in life. That jump from being an employee to being an entrepreneur, for example. I remember it really clearly, because I remember, I was in a very senior position in an organization. When I left my company, everyone thought I was crazy, because I really had a great role. I loved my role.
When was that? What year was that?
This was 2010.
Okay.
So 2010, and I was just exhausted. It was just one of those where I'm the type of personality that works all the, if I've been given a task, I'm a workaholic, and everyone's like, what are you going to do? I didn't actually know what I was going to do. I just knew that I couldn't continue in this cycle. And especially with media, you have, the best time to shoot is sunrise. So you're always like up at a stupid time, you're always filming crazy time, everything, you lose track of life basically in this world. So I remember very clearly feeling very isolated, like feeling that I've now removed myself from a comfort zone environment where I know what I'm doing. I'm in a position of seniority and experience with a team to start this entrepreneurial journey on my own. And because my whole world was the TV world, I couldn't relate to them anymore, or they couldn't relate to me anymore. It was a very, very big jump. So I would say definitely for at least 6 months, I felt very lost. It was like and not just that, it's even from a surrounding. You'd call someone and say, oh, do you want to catch up? And you'd realize they're still in that TV world. So they weren't, even from an availability, they weren't available. They didn't have the time. But then also you start going on your own journey, which no longer aligns with that journey. So you almost need to find a new community and a new tribe, which I know we'll talk about a bit later when we come to building relationships. But that made a big difference to me, is then finding that tribe and finding that community that I can now go into the next journey with. But coming to the original question about depression or isolation, that's an example for me of where I suddenly felt I've gone from being this high profile exec in a senior role with a big team and everything looks amazing, to suddenly being on my own, trying to figure out how to start a business, no one really understanding my journey, no one really understanding why I did it. And you do start to question yourself a lot. You just question if you've done the right thing, question if you can do it. A lot of imposter syndrome comes in. I would say I've definitely evolved a lot since then. This was 2010. But that's an example of when a life situation can definitely drive you down a different emotional state.
Got it.
Ultimately, what you're seeking is freedom to fully become who you are meant to become and fully live the way you're supposed to live.
Something was suppressing me.
I started working on myself, but the progress was at the snail's speed.
I was like very much fearful.
Whenever I think about leaving my job, I'm not able to take that decision.
We all have this Yodha, the warrior within us. That is the personality that you already have within you, and you have to bring it out. You have to have the truth. You have to speak when it's required.
I cried after this session almost after good 30-40 years.
I think I spent most of yesterday crying. When you connect with your heart in a safe space with people who are on the same journey, I think it's an incredibly powerful thing to do.
I feel I have won all the fears and I'm the king of my own kingdom.
Now onwards, I am a warrior wherever I want. I want to speak, definitely I will speak.
I will do what I need to do and let the universe decide the result. Let it flow.
From now onwards, I'll be taking massive actions and no excuses at all.
More than business, now I have the self-satisfaction of serving the community. The respect which I lost everywhere, even within my family, I'm able to regain the same.
I can say I came with a very huge burden, but end of the day I can say I'm going as a new version of me.